What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to part 3 of What If I Reincarnated as Inuzuka Ninja Beast in the second Shinobi War. If you are enjoying this series, please for me like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. With that guys, Omna Sensei signing in. As I stand in the shower, water cascading over me, my mind drifts to the events of the past few months. The war effort has seen Hiruzen and Tsukumo successfully hold back the formidable Third Reikage. However, the situation has taken a turn as the Cloud Village falls victim to a mysterious attack orchestrated by Danzo's root members disguised as Mist Ninjas. Unfortunately, they met their demise during the mission, forcing the Reikage to return to his village. Yet, the Reikage's thirst for vengeance remains, and he now sets his sights on the Land of Fire. The momentum of his previous assault may have waned, but the Hokage and Tsukumo stand ready to defend against him. Meanwhile, I've been absent from the battlefield, citing my role as the clan leader as an excuse. How long this excuse will hold remains uncertain, but I shall utilize it until it no longer serves its purpose. On a lighter note, I recently celebrated my birthday by sharing a bowl of ramen with Kushina and Minato, progressing in my studies. I have now mastered all the seals in the basic Uzumaki Fuinjutsu book, and have delved into the intermediate book. The introduction seal in this book is the Paralysis Seal, a formidable B-rank Fuinjutsu technique. When activated, it traps the target in paralysis, although its effectiveness is limited by the target's line of sight. Removing the seal or allowing sufficient time to pass will break the paralysis. Fuinjutsu truly proves to be an overwhelmingly powerful art, especially within the Uzumaki clan's repertoire. Concluding the intermediate book is the Chakra Draining Seal, which allows the user to siphon chakra from others for personal use. I harbor a theory that applying this seal to an individual gathering natural energy could upset their balance, potentially resulting in their transformation into stone. Aware of Kushina's limitations in teaching beyond the intermediate level, I am cognizant that only the Uzumaki possess the privilege of accessing the advanced and master books of Uzumaki Fuinjutsu. Nevertheless, Minato continues to accompany us during Fuinjutsu lessons, his attempts to woo Kushina subtly evident. Unfortunately for him, she has firmly placed him within the boundaries of friendship. I recall catching him engrossed in a book on love, likely an attempt to decipher the intricacies of a girl's emotions. Exiting the shower, I make my way to my room, its door adorned with a sign warning against entry. Stepping inside, I find seals adorning the walls, floor, table, and even my bed. 4 clones diligently study the intricate art of sealing. Reflecting on my journey thus far, I contemplate the notion of being labeled a genius. Kushina expressed her astonishment when I mastered the beginner Uzumaki Fuinjutsu in a mere month and a half, comparing me to her own genius status in the field. Minato, achieving the same feat in a month, was hailed by Kushina as a genius among geniuses, even by Uzumaki standards. As I stand amidst my sanctum of seals, I contemplate the weight of this titled genius. Donning my clothes, I step outside, making my way toward Ichiraku Ramen. While my focus has been primarily on mastering Fuinjutsu, I've also been diligent in expanding my repertoire of jutsu. Leveraging the expertise of my fellow clan members, who hold the rank of Special Jounin, I've managed to acquire a variety of B-rank Winjutsu. This arrangement allows them to access jutsus from the Jounin library, as they possess only one elemental affinity. Among the jutsus I've acquired are the likes of Earth Style, Iron Skin, known for its strengthening properties, and a range of B-rank jutsus, such as Fire Style, Big Flame Bullet, Water Style, Water Trumpet, Wind Style, Pressure Damage, Wind Style, Vacuum Sphere, and Wind Style. Vacuum Wave. Lightning Jutsu, however, remains absent from my arsenal, as my elemental affinity lies with the wind. The process of learning jutsus of opposing elements poses challenges, requiring more chakra and dedication. I observe this in the case of Kakashi, whose lightning affinity limited his use of wind jutsu, and even Hiruzen, renowned as the professor, showed a predilection for fire-based jutsu over water. Approaching the ramen stand, I notice Kushina, who is usually accompanied by Minato, eating alone. However, her tear-stained face catches me off guard. Sensing her chakra, I'm astounded it's the most potent chakra I've ever encountered. It dawns on me that she must have already become a Jinchuriki, her chakra now amplified by the ritual even without releasing the power of the Kyuubi. As her friend, concern fills me, and I reach out to touch her shoulder. She turns, her eyes glistening with tears. With a worried expression, I inquire, asking why she's crying. She breaks down further, struggling to speak. Through her sobs, she manages to convey the news of her grandmother Mito's passing. Tears flow ceaselessly from her eyes. Responding with compassion, I embrace her, offering comfort. I reassure her, reminding her that Mito-sama would want her to be happy, rather than consumed by sorrow. Deep within, I believe that Mito's spirit lives on. Pointing to her heart, I emphasize that her grandmother's presence resides there. She gazes at me, wiping away her tears and sniffles with her sleeves. Her expression softens, and she speaks, acknowledging my perspective. A slight smile graces my lips as I close my eyes, creating the illusion of them being shut while retaining my vision. Unexpectedly, I sense her blushing. It seems that she has developed a crush on me. This could prove advantageous for advancing my plans. Acquiring the Uzumaki Fuinjutsu books is of utmost importance, and I remain indifferent to the constraints of the Anime's canon timeline. I've devised multiple plans, labeled A, B, and C, to ensure my ability to overcome Kagaya. Sasuke and Naruto, who were once part of my contingency plan, now serve as my plan D for dealing with Kagaya. However, the intricacies of the story matter little to me as long as I achieve my goals. Whether or not Naruto or Sasuke are born is inconsequential. Furthermore, I find myself uninterested in younger individuals and instead gravitate toward mature women. Adult Kushina, in particular, does not hold my interest beyond a brief encounter. Her domineering, violent, and nosy personality fails to captivate me. While she possesses a striking and exotic appearance, her lack of complexity or unpredictability renders her uninteresting. Her mind lacks the intrigue or sharp intellect that would engage me, though she may be concealing hidden facets. I remain guarded, holding my assumptions about her. Additionally, I am indifferent toward love, for my sole focus lies in the pursuit of immortality. Engaging in conversation with Kushina for a few minutes, we exchange pleasantries. Yet, when Minato arrives and approaches us, his expression remains unchanged. He likely sensed the changes in Kushina from afar, perhaps even more keenly than he can now. Offering his greetings, we engage in small talk. Kushina recounts her experiences, and Minato provides solace, though his words lack the impact of my own. Nonetheless, she expresses gratitude and finds solace in having someone to rely upon. Amidst our interaction, my attention remains fixated on the Intermediate Seals book. As I commit various seals to memory, my thoughts drift back to my previous life and the first death I experienced, a day that remains vividly etched in my mind. Flashback 12 years old. Seated in my room, engrossed in reading a schoolbook, specifically a biology textbook, I hear my father's voice calling out to me. He invites me to join him for a fishing trip, an activity he adores, due to his upbringing in a fishing village. Fishing provides us with a chance to swim in the lake when boredom strikes. However, I still have homework to complete, for I aspire to become a doctor. My ambition is to attend medical school, following in the footsteps of my mother, who holds a medical degree, but does not work due to my father's position as a manager at a nearby store, which ensures a steady income. We faced financial struggles in the past as I frequently fell ill, but those days are behind us now, and we even reside in a comfortable home. Our family has also welcomed a 4-year-old sibling, and my mother's protectiveness prevents her from entrusting the care of our little brother to anyone else. A knock on my bedroom door interrupts my thoughts, and my father enters, extending an invitation. Father. Hey Andy. Did you hear me? I said, do you want to come fishing with me? He then pauses a little bit and then says to me, Father, when I didn't hear your answer, I thought you were masturbating or something. You know nothing to be ashamed of. I used to do it too when I was your age. I then turn away from my book and look at him, smirk and say, me? Yeah, used to, old man, Kaus, your thing doesn't work anymore. He then looks at me and says, Father, you don't know, brat, but when I was young, I had a lot of girlfriends. I even once had 3 at a time until they discovered each other, and I moved out of town. Then SIGH*, you have already told me that story 100 times, but I still won't believe it until you say it in front of Mom. Maybe I should tell her that. He looks at me, smirks, and says, Father, yeah, tell her that, and I will tell everyone about that girl you have a crush on. What was her name again? Ema? No. Was it Alyssa? No, that's not it. Aha, I remember now, her name is Elizabeth. I then get a blush. Why did I ask for love advice from him? I then tell him, me? Old man, you are annoying as hell, and I won't be coming to fish because I am going to finish a school project I have. Father, sure, lover boy. That was embarrassing. Well, it doesn't really matter. He probably won't tell anyone, okay? Maybe he will. Oh yeah, he will definitely tell that to someone as a joke. Skip 2 weeks later. My father has been missing for 2 weeks now since his fishing trip. The day after he went missing, there was a big storm. We were really worried. My mother sent me to my cousin's for a little to get my mind off things. I was sitting in a car returning home, with my cousin driving, when he says, Cousin, do you have your father's ID? Me? Yeah. I keep that because I am going to return it to him because he forgot his wallet that day. He then looks at me sadly with almost tears that I didn't notice back then and says, Cousin, then you should keep it safe. I smiled a little and was happy when he said that. So he was probably caught by the police for getting pushed away by the storm to the restricted no fishing area. That is where his boat was found. Then we get in my neighborhood and stop in front of my one-story house. And I noticed there were cars parked all along our neighborhood roads. More than usual, actually way more than usual. Then we stopped in front of my house. Well, not exactly there. We stopped next to my house, where a gigantic tent was put up at the used to be flat ground. I know that land is owned by one of our relatives, but he is an old man, and he doesn't do anything with it. But then I see people in black funeral clothes and think, someone must have died. Then I see my first uncle crying, which I didn't notice back then, coming outside. I just look at him, smile and say, "Me. Hey, good morning, uncle." He doesn't say anything and just grabs me by the arm and says, "Uncle, you have to say your goodbyes to him." My brain was working at full capacity to figure out what is happening, and it does so before my eyes look at the body laid in the middle of the tent in a coffin, with my mother crying in a chair at the side of the tent and a lot of people doing the same. After all, the person in it was very loved by this community. He always helped people and was fun to be around. I then hyperventilate when I see the person in it. Tears won't stop coming from my eyes. Me : heavy, BREATHING flashback end. Was that the first time I became obsessed with immortality? I don't think so. It wasn't then. That was just the beginning of my descent into madness, the start of my tragic story. Monsters aren't born, they are made. I used to believe I was cursed, that my life was plagued by misfortune. I held a deep love for my father and my first family. Furthermore, I would have sacrificed everything for them. The destruction of the world would have meant nothing if they could survive. That's why I won't betray their memory by loving another family in a world of killers. It would be like spitting in their faces and disrespecting their memory. Those who seek a perfect family in another world don't truly cherish their real families, do they? A family isn't about perfection, it's about being normal, arguing, making up, loving, supporting, and being there for one another. I remember after that tragic day, I vowed never to be caught off guard or unprepared again. Even when my little brother was late coming back from school, I feared the worst. When my mother was delayed by traffic, I imagined all the terrible things that could have happened to her and created countless plans on how to react in any situation. The thought of something bad happening to them pained me, but I couldn't afford to be unprepared. I became excessively worried, controlling, and protective. I could sense myself descending into madness, but I concealed it well. We didn't have the means for therapy, and we had to sell our old home and move so my mother could find work. I really miss them. My family was everything to me, my pillar of stability amidst my crumbling mental health. But they're gone now, and they're safer in that other world, living a better life, especially after my death when they received the life insurance money. But that's a story for another time. The story of how a monster was made and a story until its death, followed by a new life. So now, in this second life, I will pursue my dream relentlessly. Yes, I am fully self-aware. The average person would consider me a psychopath. Snap back to reality. Minato and Kushina are enjoying their ramen. Kushina looks at me, offering a warm smile, and says, "Kushina, hey, Yami, why the serious face? Come and have some ramen." Shuichi's new miso ramen is absolutely divine, and Minato said he's paying. Minato chokes and coughs on his ramen, caught off guard by Kushina's comment. She truly has him wrapped around her finger. I simply smile back at her and reply, "Me? Well, who am I to refuse the request of my best friend?" Kushina stammers and blushes, surprised by my words. She asks Kushina, Really? Are we really friends?" "Of course, we're not, Kushina," I think to myself. But instead, I make a peculiar face and respond, "Me? Of course, we're not just normal friends, Kushina. You, me, and Minato, we're best friends, right?" She nods shyly in agreement. Then after some chit-chat, I learn from Kushina that Mito's granddaughter is coming to visit her grave and get to know her successor, Kushina, better. It's likely she's referring to Tsunade, so she'll be coming to visit. I'd better prepare for her arrival. Time skip 3 weeks later. It has been announced that one of the Sannin is returning to Konoha to protect it during this time of war, while the Hokage fights the Reikage. There are likely other reasons for her visit beyond what the public knows. She is here to visit Mito's grave and assist at the hospital. With the end of the war with Tsuna, we need Tsunade's expertise in healing ninjas, especially Jounin, to help them recover and return to the battlefield more quickly. She might even be able to aid some crippled ninja. The conclusion of the war has freed 2 of our most valuable assets, Tsunade and Tsukumo, to assist at other borders. During these past 3 weeks, I've also been productive. I conducted more experiments on the Inuzuka clan's 8 special Jounin, including my first test subject, Akamaru. They have all progressed to low-level Jounin, but they still need to acclimate to their bodies and chakra. However, I noticed a side effect. Akamaru's hair started growing. I ceased any further treatments on him to avoid arousing suspicion. It seems the 8th gate is no laughing matter even when slightly tapped into. He likely has around 20 years of lifespan remaining, and he's only 19 years old. Nonetheless, The most important outcome is that the Inuzuka now has 9 new Jounin level ninjas, albeit at a low level for now. Once they gain better control over their bodies, they will become average Jounin or even high-level Jounin. Currently, I am standing at the village gate awaiting Tsunade's arrival. If I didn't welcome her, it might raise suspicions. After some time, I notice a ninja land on a tree in front of me. It's Tsunade Senju, one of the Sannin. She looks at me and then leaps towards me, embracing me tightly. I can't help but notice her ample bosom even through the Konoha Jounin armor. She begins to shed tears and says, "Tsunade, yami. I'm sorry for allowing you to bear that burden. It was all my fault. I shouldn't have let you remain on the battlefield." I'm taken aback. Why is she blaming herself? I understand now. She's referring to the lie I told about learning medical ninjutsu to prevent my comrades from dying. I sob softly and respond, Sob, I'm sorry, Tsunade-sensei. I couldn't protect them. Sob, this is unexpected. She cups my head in her hands and assures me, Tsunade, it wasn't your fault. I promise I will protect you from now on in their memory. Okay. This has taken an unpredictable turn. I need to readjust my plans accordingly. After a heartfelt reunion, Tsunade goes to her grandmother's grave to pay her respects before visiting the Sarutobi twins clan. I inform her that I'm not ready to face the guilt of my actions, and that I'll visit when I feel prepared. In reality, it would be a waste of time. Currently, I need every available moment to strengthen myself, especially with the ongoing war. I return home to my lab and consider the need to acquire test subjects from the battlefields. I can't risk taking Konoha citizens, since any disappearances would raise suspicions, and I am not yet strong enough to live freely outside the village. I draw seals all around my lab to prevent anyone from entering, and if someone tries to force their way in, the lab will self-destruct. I have taken care of all the evidence, but one can never be too cautious. Additionally, I have burned the heads of the 3 San Jounin I had in my cool box. Money is of no concern to me, as I possess a small fortune. Now, there is no evidence remaining of what truly occurred during the peace meeting with Suna. Ash time skipped tomorrow. Tsunade has finished paying her respects, and she is now emotionally calmer than she was yesterday. She has completed her work for the day and is sitting in my backyard, wearing casual clothing, a short white kimono and black gym shorts. She looks at me and says, Tsunade, you know, we are at war, and I might die one day. So, I want you to be my successor. I look at her, as this was expected. She continues, Tsunade, do you know the secret behind my immense strength? I do know from the anime, but I will pretend that I don't. I strike a thoughtful pose and reply, me. Well, I suppose it's similar to the tree walking exercise, where you put too much chakra in your leg, causing the tree to explode. Tsunade smiles at me and says, Tsunade, you're right. It's somewhat like that. But she gets up and punches the air, and I feel something peculiar. She then explains, Tsunade, I did use my technique just now, but nothing happened to the air, like a current or a small explosion. Ah, I see. So that's how it works. I smirk at her and say, me. I believe your technique has 3 components. Firstly, when you punch, you employ chakra control to strengthen yourself, which means it's not just a chakra explosion, but also chakra reinforcement. Secondly, you create a ripple effect with your punch, spreading the explosive force and causing greater widespread damage, while the chakra explosion remains imperceptible. And thirdly, you allocate some chakra to protect your limb from being completely crushed by the pressure. Her eyes widen. To deduce this much with minimal hints shows exceptional powers of observation, almost like the Sharingan. That's what you're thinking, Tsunade-sensei. Explaining the process like this makes it sound simple, but it is far more complex than it seems. Even achieving half of this requires extraordinary, if not perfect, chakra control, and she can use it in all her limbs. In the anime, some people claim that Sakura could surpass Tsunade. That is utter madness. Tsunade possesses the talent to devise such a strengthening technique. Furthermore, despite being a medical ninja with impeccable chakra control, her chakra reserves are not insignificant. After all, she is part Senju and Uzumaki. To exhibit this level of chakra control with her nearly S-rank chakra reserves is nothing short of a monstrous achievement. She can even crush rocks with her natural muscular strength alone. Her stamina is also monstrous. She fought Madara for an entire day, and could still heal the Shinobi Alliance afterward despite being cut in 2. The Tsunade we see in the anime is portrayed as a woman in her mid-50s, who spent the last couple of decades drinking, gambling, and neglecting her training. Anyway, I look at her, and she looks back at me with widened eyes. Tsunade says, Tsunade, are you sure you're not an Uchiha in disguise or something? I let out a small laugh and respond, me. I wish I were, Tsunade-sensei. That would certainly make learning things much easier. But alas, some things are just not meant to be. Tsunade rubs her forehead and sighs, Tsunade. There was no need for such a lengthy answer. You talk like an old man. I smirk and playfully retort, me. And you, like an old hag. A tick mark appears on her forehead as she frowns, and she cracks cracks her fingers. Tsunade warns Tsunade, "Careful, Yami. Lately, you're becoming cheeky." Suddenly, I stop smiling and look at her with cold eyes. Immediately, I bow down and apologize. "I'm sorry, Tsunade-sensei. You are the most beautiful, gentle, and strongest kunoichi in the world. I would never get cheeky with you." She looks at me, smiles, and gently pets my head before squeezing my skull tightly. I cry out, "Ow, ow, ow, Tsunade-sensei." "Why?" Tsunade retorts, "Tsunade, you should stop acting so ridiculous." She releases her grip on my head. Wow, her strength is monstrous. Nonetheless, this was all to lighten the mood and make them believe that it was my way of dealing with depression. After all, every ninja has their own method, and many elite ninjas have quirky personalities. Alright, so Tsunade-sensei, what will you teach me? Tsunade looks at me and says, "Tsunade, first, I need you to sit in a meditative position." Okay. I assume the meditative position, and Tsunade does the same. She then takes a bottle of ink and a brush from her kimono and says, "Tsunade, remove your headband. By the way, what color is your favorite?" I comply and look at her seriously, saying, "Well, I don't really care, but I do like the color red." Tsunade simply stares at me and states, "Tsunade, that was a rhetorical question. I only have black ink at the moment." I give her a perplexed look and respond, "Why would you ask if you only have black ink? And by the way, that was not a rhetorical question." She raises an eyebrow and replies, "Tsunade, if you dislike the black ink so much, go buy your own colored ink." I let out a sigh and say, "Can we please proceed? I don't really care either way." She looks at me while dipping the brush into the ink bottle and turning it clockwise, and then she exhales and says, "Tsunade, what a disappointing disciple. I always said you should have patience, my pupil, especially now, because having patience is the key to the technique I'm about to teach you." I look at her and ponder how to have some fun, while she avoids giving me the answer I want. Then an idea strikes me. Why are you suddenly acting like a wise teacher?" I give her a serious look and continue, preparing to use the substitution technique. Do you want to have a forbidden relationship with me or something?" Tsunade freezes in shock, but I continue, I understand. You desire the forbidden fruit. After all, the forbidden is more exciting and tastier." I continue to ramble on, while Tsunade remains in shock. Blushing, I'm also okay with this, Tsunade-sensei. After all, if I'm going into the battlefield, I also want to taste the forbidden fruit. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. I'll take it to the grave." I then make a dark, scummy smirk and say, "This can be our little secret." Enraged, Tsunade punches me in the face and yells, "Tsunade, I said don't be so disgusting, you brat." My figure crashes into a tree, and once the dust settles, only a log remains where I was supposed to be. Then, I step out from behind a tree and say, Tsunade-sensei, if only you were 10 years younger. I like strong-willed women like you." Tsunade's anger intensifies, and she retorts, "Tsunade, what's that supposed to mean, brat? Am I too old or something? It's so easy to control the flow of the conversation when you know someone as well as I do, Tsunade, both from the anime and in reality. I should have been a politician in my previous life." I then put on a tragic face and say, Tsunade-sensei, it's quite difficult for me to say this, but I must. If you want to go on a date, we should do it after training." Tsunade sighs and looks at me calmly. So she noticed I was leading her on. How admirable that she managed to calm down. She looks at me and remarks, "Tsunade, you know, kid, you would make a great Hokage with your ability to get into people's heads and engage in politics." I shrug my shoulders and reply, "Sigh, there you go again with the compliments. You must have fallen really hard for me, Sensei, for you to tell me I could be the greatest Hokage." Tsunade sighs and retorts, "Tsunade, sigh, you do know I have a boyfriend, right?" She smirks a little, probably expecting me to be distraught or at least back away. But I'm just having some fun. I maintain a neutral expression and respond in an utterly uninterested voice, "Oh, is that so? When is our date going to be, again?" Tsunade sighs and comments, "Tsunade, you know, you're really shameless." I then adopt a serious expression and ask, "So, what are you going to teach me, Tsunade?" She notices that I didn't use the sensei term, but she doesn't say anything. Phase 1 of the plan to obtain the Flying Thunder God technique begins now. Tsunade looks at her hands, clenches them into fists, and says, "Tsunade, you know, before we fought Hanzo, I realized that I had a subconscious arrogance. I don't know when it started, but I had stopped improving. Then, I recalled a special seal that my grandmother Mito used to siphon the leaking and unused chakra of a certain being sealed within her, and she was able to use it for herself. I know you're going to ask, but no, I can't tell you what it was. It's an S-rank secret." She is likely referring to the Kyuubi. Tsunade continues, "Tsunade, I then thought, why can't I use this seal to siphon my own chakra when I'm not utilizing it? Well, it was a challenging process. I had to learn my granduncle's Mind Palace technique, which he acquired from the Yamanaka clan, and then create a space within it to store the chakra. It took me 6 months to fill this seal, while maintaining chakra control even while sleeping and fighting. It was difficult to determine the specific amount of chakra to siphon, as it could lead to quick fatigue or chakra exhaustion. It used to be so hard, but now it has become an automatic process. She then furrows her brow in anger and states, Tsunade, if I were to fight Hanzo now, well, he would be in for a big surprise. She then smiles and announces, Tsunade, the self-made technique I will teach you, the technique that has made me the strongest Sannin at the moment, is named Tsunade. The self-made technique I will teach you, the technique that has made me the strongest Sannin at the moment, is named Creation Rebirth. She proceeds to explain how the technique works, its effect on cellular division, and the risk it poses to one's lifespan. Despite Tsunade's offer to teach me the Creation Rebirth technique, I decide against using it unless I'm on the brink of death. Sacrificing everyone around me seems like a much better option than losing even a fraction of my lifespan. Instead, I prefer to focus on Kabuto's Yin Healing Wound Destruction technique. By analyzing an opponent's facial expressions, movements, and jutsu properties, I can anticipate and preemptively treat incoming attacks, minimizing the damage I receive. Combining this technique with Tsunade's seal will help overcome its weakness. Kabuto's healing technique, which activates and reproduces cells using chakra, is truly miraculous. Although more challenging to use than Tsunade's technique, it offers a similar healing speed. However, it pales in comparison to the ninja art Creation Rebirth strength of 100 technique, which grants near immortality on the battlefield. I doubt Tsunade has developed that level of mastery yet. Tsunade proceeds to explain some minor details, and gives me a scroll on how to create a mind palace, a construct within one's mind that can be used to counteract mind reading to some extent. I discover its various uses, such as safeguarding memories by constructing a chain door to protect them. However, there are limitations, as indestructible and impenetrable constructs cannot be created. Nevertheless, this technique proves immensely useful to me. Time passes, and I make significant progress. I master the intermediate Uzumaki Fuinjutsu book, and my interactions with Kushina and Minato become less frequent. I excuse myself by claiming to be busy with Tsunade's training. They are not currently valuable to me, but I ensure they are not ostracized. Instead, I optimize my time to learn and grow. During this period, I also learn the Creation Rebirth seal. Now, a diamond-shaped tattoo adorns my forehead, and my chakra reserves are often depleted. Despite this, I managed to learn Tsunade's super strength technique within a week, and its power amazes me. Constructing my forehead seal will likely take around 5 months, and in my backyard, amidst my horror castle, I've created a space to store my extra chakra. Speaking of which, today Tsunade-sensei treats me to lunch as a reward for learning her super strength technique. As we head to the expensive restaurant, my mind buzzes with plans and schemes. There are so many techniques I want to learn, but time is limited. I contemplate creating the Rasengan Jutsu, mastering the summoning Jutsu, or conducting experiments on my clan members. The possibilities seem endless, and I'm eager to continue my journey of growth and mastery. Despite having so much I want to accomplish, time feels limited. I continue supplying 80% of my chakra to the seal every day, gradually progressing toward completion. It's a slower pace compared to Tsunade-sensei, who achieved it in just 6 months amid the chaos of battle. However, being in the safety of the village allows me to conserve my chakra and make steady progress. I estimate that it will take me around 5 months to finish. Entering the restaurant, I spot Tsunade sitting at a table, patiently waiting. An idea strikes me, and I smirk mischievously. Stepping back outside, I create a shadow clone, a gamble that will be worth it if it succeeds. Returning to the table, I take a seat, order my food, and greet Tsunade with a confident smile. She looks at me with an air of boredom, twirling her drink with a straw, and remarks on my approach. Tsunade, did you learn that from some cheesy how to pick up girls book? Undeterred, I maintain my smile and respond. Me, seems like my hard work isn't paying off after all. She smirks in agreement. Tsunade, sometimes it really doesn't. Recognizing an opening, I feign concern and ask Tsunade what's bothering her. She sighs, rubbing her forehead, and reveals her frustrations with her ideas being rejected. I nod attentively, but my true focus lies elsewhere. I'm waiting for something else to occur. Suddenly, an elderly woman approaches our table, assuming we're on a date. She reminisces about her youth and suggests that Tsunade should keep a catch like me. Tsunade swiftly dismisses the notion, asserting that the old woman's eyes must be deceiving her due to her age. However, the old woman leans in closer, whispering something only Tsunade and I can hear. Whispering in a hushed tone, the old woman reveals her understanding of Tsunade's feelings for me and suggests that I reciprocate. Tsunade sighs in frustration, massaging her forehead. Tsunade, you're a meddling hag, aren't you? The old woman appears saddened by Tsunade's remark, and shares a personal anecdote about her own experience of unrequited love in her youth. As she touches Tsunade's shoulder, Tsunade instinctively reacts, almost striking her. It's clear that her extended time on the battlefield has left her on edge. The old woman persists in her words, expressing her desire for Tsunade to avoid the same fate she experienced. Tsunade dismisses her with a casual remark, labeling her as an interfering hag. As the old woman departs, she smiles and imparts a final piece of advice, urging Tsunade to follow her heart when the time comes. Outside the restaurant, the old woman transforms into a young boy with Inuzuka tattoos, dispelling himself as a shadow clone, receiving the clone's memories. I brush them off and refocus my attention on Tsunade. With a serious expression, I assert my agreement with the old woman's advice. Tsunade becomes immediately infuriated, claiming that I grow more annoying each day. I smirk in response, teasing her further. Me? And you love it, don't you? Tsunade lets out a sigh, and after some more light-hearted conversation, our food arrives. While we eat, I find myself stealing glances at Tsunade's ample chest when she's not paying attention. I can't help but wonder how she went from a flat-chested childhood to such a generous bosom, measuring 106 centimeters 3/4. Could it be that she stores the chakra from the strength of 100 seal in her chest, while Sakura stores hers in her forehead? No, Tsunade also channels her chakra to her forehead. Regardless, the thought lingers in my mind as we engage in small talk. I seize the opportunity to ask Tsunade if she'll be heading to the battlefield soon. She meets my gaze and replies that she'll be staying in the village for at least 3 months. With a smile, I express my relief and remark that we have plenty of time to catch up. Tsunade regards me with suspicion, questioning my intentions, and whether I'm merely trying to spend time with my beautiful teacher or scheming something. I let out a sigh and respond, feigning innocence. Me? Can't a student miss his teacher? Why are you so suspicious? Deep down, though, I do wish to learn all that her clan has to offer. Tsunade continues to scrutinize me, suggesting that I may be trying to seduce her, in an exaggerated poetic voice. I dismiss the notion, clarifying that I don't seek to seduce her, but rather to make her fall in love. I jest about our first date and my supposed effectiveness. Tsunade finishes her chicken breast, looks at me, and lets out a tired sigh. Tsunade: alright then, I'll humor you, brat. But you're young, and you don't understand what love is. You don't even know me. Little does she know that I have knowledge of her future. Smiling, I respond. Me? Well, we could get to know each other. Isn't that what dates are for? Tsunade, ever the skeptic, argues that dates are for adults, not 9-year-old kids who are experiencing their first crush. I gaze at her, feigning hurt. Me? Ah, the cruel sensei as always. What did I do to deserve this? With a light smile, I shift the conversation to Tsunade's pets, subtly inquiring about the situation on the front lines. Tsunade catches on to my hidden meaning, understanding that I seek information about the ongoing war. She responds by mentioning how her pets bark at the window or door when she sleeps, indicating attacks from all sides except Suna, due to the peace agreement. I play along, remarking how scary they seem, and suggesting that I shouldn't visit for some time, hinting at the dangerous state of the battlefields. Tsunade sighs and massages her forehead, mentioning that the dogs can be calmed by swimming in the pond in her backyard. I interpret this as the land of water battlefield being the least intense. I casually shrug and comment that some dogs have their own quirks, likening it to different battlefields having their own unique challenges. Tsunade confirms that the dogs dislike the bright lights in her house, and mentions her intention to have someone fix them, hinting at the dangerous situation in the land of lightning, due to the presence of the Reikage on the front lines, but also reassuring that they have someone holding him back. I inquire about the dogs playing happily in the yard outside like normal animals, to which Tsunade responds with a smile, sharing an interesting observation of squirrels sitting on the fence watching the dogs. My eyes widen as I realize the significance, connecting it to rumors of Inoki, the fence sitter, joining the battlefield. I offer to fix her pond to make it more pleasant for the dogs, subtly inquiring about the situation in the land of mist. Playfully, I suggest that she could join me for a swim, inquiring if she will be present. Tsunade, drinking her sake, looks at me and states that she will simply be watching from afar, and would go alone if she wanted to swim. I understand her response, realizing that she will be focusing on healing and targeting important points alone, while keeping an eye on me. I smile and express my willingness to visit her pond, understanding that it will provide a sense of safety if she is present. Tsunade makes a mocking smile, cautioning me about swimming and drowning. I respond seriously, assuring her that I am an excellent swimmer, and emphasizing my desire to help her dogs and all dogs in need as an Inuzuka. The underlying meaning conveys my commitment to assist Konoha and reduce casualties. Tsunade looks anxious, aware of what I might say next, but still asks with a shadowed face, why becoming the leader of the dogs would be useful. I smile and confidently respond, expressing my desire to become their leader. In response, Tsunade breaks the sake cup in her hand, stands up angrily, and bangs on the table, exclaiming that becoming Hokage is not as easy as I think, and that young ones like me often meet an early demise. Our conversation attracts attention, and some people start looking in our direction. With a smile, I assured Tsunade that I'm the perfect candidate to fulfill her ideas. She looks angry and sad simultaneously, then abruptly leaves the table, exits the restaurant, and walks away. I watch her departure, realizing that I may have reminded her too much of her brother. Despite the unexpected outcome, I acknowledge that surprises are not preferable, and I need to make my plans more efficient in the future. The waitress arrives, and I pay for the expensive meal, reflecting on its high cost. It dawns on me that Tsunade might be even wealthier than I initially thought. The price of the meal, 30,000 ryo, is staggering. While I understand that the food is of high quality and the restaurant attracts noble customers, the exorbitant cost surprises me. It amounts to around $3,000 for a meal for two. I return home, take a shower, and go to sleep. A month passes, during which Tsunade remains silent for 3 days after our encounter. Even when we finally resume communication, we avoid discussing the incident. I speculate that Tsunade's aversion to young individuals aspiring to become Hokage might have intensified due to Asuntori's death, as both he and Nawaki perished pursuing that dream. Tsunade may now see it as my turn. During this month, I focus on mastering the Rasengan, nearly achieving mastery. I opted not to utilize shadow clones to expedite the learning process, and instead practiced one-handed Rasengan. Additionally, I spent time crafting explosive tags and different seals in preparation for the battlefield as I exhausted most of my chakra. While my relationship with Tsunade has not progressed further, I have no regrets about what I expressed in the restaurant. I need her to take me seriously as an adult, knowing that it won't happen immediately. As they say, the 1,000-mile journey begins with the first step. Mastering the Rasengan serves as my first step toward learning a ranked jutsu. Tsunade offers me the summoning contract for Katsaya, but I decline. While Katsaya is a top-ranked summoning with healing abilities, I believe it's not the right fit for me. I desire a summoning that can assist me in battles against formidable opponents, even capable of providing support against powerful entities like Perfect Susanoo. I seek a summoning that remains valuable even to those with Naruto's endgame powers. Time passes, and Tsunade tries to dissuade me from becoming Hokage by highlighting the burdensome paperwork and lengthy meetings involved. However, she fails to understand my perspective. I envision the opportunity to learn forbidden techniques without resorting to stealth and secrecy. Nevertheless, I realize acquiring a forbidden scroll won't be as easy as Naruto made it appear. The security measures must be more stringent, preventing just anyone from obtaining those techniques. Perhaps the Uzumaki bloodline or the lineage of previous Hokage grants access. Regardless, it's not worth the risk for techniques I can't effectively utilize. Or worse, can't use at all. I also plan to conduct further research on the 8 Gates technique. However, I feel uneasy about pursuing it without being in optimal condition. The thought of facing a berserk individual under the influence of the 8 Gates, even at my best, is a daunting prospect. In the anime, Sakura didn't experience a significant drop in power during her mastery of the 100 Strength Seal technique, but her reserves were smaller. It took her 3 years to complete it. Still, I have 4 months remaining to perfect the technique despite my energy levels dwindling more noticeably. My attention turns to Kushina as the most critical phase of my plan to obtain the final Uzumaki books approaches. If I fail now, I'm uncertain whether another opportunity will present itself. Meanwhile, I affectionately pet my Ninken, Shiro, who rests in my lap. I contemplate his growth and think it's time for him to become bigger. As I observe Tsume's training in my backyard, I realize she's now 7 years old and still in the academy. She yearns to graduate early to showcase her strength in the war, but I sternly advise against it. I am aware of the ripples I'm creating in the world, and I fear for her safety. She could lose her life out there, alongside her Ninken. Although I pride myself on having a good memory, I find myself unsure about certain insignificant details regarding Naruto. It doesn't bother me much, since my focus lies in understanding the main plot and Chiractus powers, which I'm confident I won't forget. I refrain from documenting any information about my past life or future knowledge. After all, Kabuto managed to decipher something that can only be read with the Sharingan or Mangekyou Sharingan. To fully comprehend it, I suspect one would need the Rinnegan. I'm referring to the Uchiha Stone Tablet. If Kabuto could unravel its secrets, he could likely do the same with other foreign languages, perhaps even more effortlessly. I refuse to underestimate anyone in this world. I must approach every fight and encounter with the assumption that others are smarter and stronger than me. The slightest lapse in vigilance could lead to my demise. I'll be honest with myself, I'm afraid. I fear that if I love and trust someone in this world, they may one day fall victim to Genjutsu like Kodomatsu Kami and betray me. Life used to be simpler and safer in my previous existence. I would surround myself with friends, place a naive figurehead as our leader, and climb the societal ladder. After all, I was truly an underdog in my previous life, unlike the anime's notion of an underdog, with characters like Naruto and Izuku Midoriya obtaining extraordinary powers. It's absurd. For a genuine underdog to rise to the top, one must be willing to get their hands dirty. Anyone claiming to reach the pinnacle without compromise is a liar. Reminiscing about my past ambitions. But it would be a lie to say that I despise this world. It grants me the opportunity to pursue a dream I had buried deep within my heart. And it's so thrilling. Sometimes it's unpredictable, incomprehensible. I have mixed feelings. I hate it yet relish in the adventure. Time passes, and now I'm 10 years old. I celebrated my birthday by hosting a gathering at my house, as expected of the clan head. I spent approximately 2 million ryo on the party. But truth be told, it was rather dull. Only my family and friends were in attendance. Kushina, as always, showered me with bubbly congratulations. The gifts I received were not particularly useful. Tsunade-sensei had returned to the battlefield, so she couldn't join the celebration. Tsukumo was in Konoha for a brief period, but he soon returned to the battlefield as well. We didn't cross paths much, merely acquaintances. He likely visited for Kakashi's birth, though that information is likely classified. We wouldn't want Konoha's spies to discover the White Fang's vulnerability. I've completed the construction of the Strength of 100 seal and learned the creation rebirth technique. I intend to develop a more efficient approach using it. My body has had time to grow, and I've trained it to its full potential. I continue daily training to maintain my peak condition. My chakra capacity has also increased significantly, and with the stored chakra within my seal, I possess a substantial reserve. Furthermore, now that I've regained my full potential, I've begun training wind control with my shadow clones, akin to the technique Naruto used to split a waterfall. Though I lack Yamato's expertise, I utilize a river in the Inuzuka training ground to assist in creating the waterfall. Mastering wind control still eludes me, but I can sense that I'm getting closer. On the battlefield, Konoha and Cloud find themselves locked in a stalemate. In the rock territory, the battle unfolds in the Land of Rain, with Dan, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru leading the charge on Konoha's side. As Tsunade remains in the mist battlefield, there's a possibility she may relocate to the Land of Rain to confront Rock Village. Hanzo finds himself embroiled in battle against both Konoha and Rock Village within his own country. He stands alone, and the people of the Land of Rain likely suffer numerous atrocities. The Mist Village, on the other hand, exhibits passivity, but I suspect they're planning something. My intuition tells me to place my bet on their ulterior motives. For now, I refrain from joining the battlefield, continuing to observe Kushina and awaiting the opportune moment to strike. Time passes, and 5 months later, as I make my way to the predetermined meeting spot where Kushina, Minato, and I were supposed to convene, my thoughts drift to the progress I've made during this period. I've successfully mastered the wind control exercise, granting me the ability to infuse my weapons with wind chakra. I can even throw them while retaining the wind chakra coating. Additionally, I've honed my skills to coat my claws with wind chakra, turning them into deadly weapons capable of effortlessly tearing through flesh. Close combat has become perilous for anyone who dares to face me. Furthermore, I've diligently stored a substantial amount of chakra within my seal, accumulating approximately 10 times my normal chakra capacity. Essentially, I possess the chakra equivalent of 11 low-ranking elite jounin, a formidable reservoir indeed. Upon arriving at the meeting place, which happens to be a training ground, my eyes widen as I spot something on the ground, an unmistakable sight. Finally, my moment has arrived. A few strands of red hair are scattered in the area. It's time to set my plan into motion. Sensing the surroundings, I remain in place, gripping the hair for approximately 15 seconds until Minato arrives. He calls out to me, questioning Kushina's absence and her hair in my possession. I point towards another direction where another patch of hair lies, and he takes it into his hands. I express my bewilderment, exclaiming that it's impossible. Without further delay, I convey my suspicion that something has happened to Kushina, and Minato, recognizing the seriousness etched on my face, follows my lead. For hours on end, we relentlessly pursue the trail, eventually reaching the Land of Hot Water, situated between the Land of Fire and the Land of Frost. The Land of Frost serves as the battlefield between Konoha and Cloud Village. Nightfall descends upon us as we painstakingly close in on the 3 Cloud ninjas casually escorting Kushina, her upper body bound by a rope. They believed themselves to be in a secure position, oblivious to the fact that Kushina had left a trail of hair for any enemy ninja to track. Sensing their chakra, I communicate to Minato through hand signs, indicating that they possess ambu-level skills. With a chakra-suppressing seal in place, both Minato and I swiftly engage the Cloud Ninjas. Minato incapacitates one with a precise chop to the neck, while I swiftly dispatch my opponent by driving a kunai through the back of his neck. The last remaining ninja leaps backward, his alertness heightened. I promptly release the chakra-suppressing seal, unleashing the power of my demonic illusion, Paralysis Dog-Binding Jutsu. His gaze becomes unfocused, providing an opening for me to throw a wind-charged kunai that swiftly pierces through his throat and spine. Kushina continues walking absent-mindedly until Minato Minato and I position ourselves in front of her, simultaneously voicing our concern. "Me and Minato? Are you hurt, Kushina? We've come to rescue you." She gazes at us, a smile gracing her lips before collapsing. Swiftly, Minato and I catch her, tenderly cradling her form and freeing her from the constricting ropes. I offer her a reassuring smile and speak gently. "Me, you'll be alright now." Noticing the blush creeping onto Minato's cheeks, I nudge him playfully. He blushes further but carries Kushina as if she were a princess. As Kushina regains consciousness, she voices her confusion. "Kushina, wait a minute." Minato springs up, capturing her attention. Kushina notices her hair in Minato's hand, her cheeks reddening. "Kushina, that's Minato responds, his voice laced with sincerity. "Minato, your hair is beautiful. I noticed it right away." I join them on the treetop, my mind filled with amusement. Witnessing these young ones engaged in such a Romeo and Juliet-like exchange is quite peculiar. Kushina averts her gaze, her cheeks aflame, and voices her frustration. "Kushina, but you always ignored me." It seems she refers to Minato's lack of intervention when she faced bullies at the academy. Minato offers his explanation, his voice filled with admiration. "Minato, because I knew you were strong, both in body and spirit." He gracefully lands atop a nearby tree, and I follow suit on the adjacent tree. Minato smiles warmly at Kushina, conveying his feelings. "Minato, but this is a battle between villages. It's different from your previous fights, so Kushina," her eyes fixed on Minato's face, prompts him to continue. "Kushina, so?" Minato's smile widens as he confesses his heartfelt sentiment. "Minato, I didn't want to lose you." Kushina's cheeks flush even deeper as she responds. "Kushina, even if I'm an outsider." Minato counters her self-doubt with conviction. "Minato, why do you say that? You live in Konoha, so you are one of us." Feeling disinterested with their romantic exchange, I seize the opportunity to gather the fallen bodies, sealing them within a scroll. After some time, we begin our journey back to Konoha. Upon our arrival, we face numerous inquiries from the Konoha Council, presenting them with evidence of the three Cloud Ninja. Their identities are verified through the bingo books valued at 14 million ryo, 2 million ryo, and 17 million ryo respectively. The council, consisting of Hamura, Kaharu, and Danzo, awards us their bounties, leaving us to decide how to divide the spoils among ourselves. Stepping outside the Hokage Tower, we proceed to split the bounty, with each of us receiving 11 million ryo. Kushina initially hesitates to accept her share, prompting me to interject. "Me, Kushina, we're friends, right?" She shyly nods in agreement. Smiling, I continue. "Me, then I want you to have it. Just imagine the amount of ramen you could enjoy with that money. Are you truly willing to give that up?" She appears tempted, but firmly asserts her decision. Kushina, "Yes, I'm sure. I want you guys to have it." With a determined expression, I gaze at Kushina and assertively state my intentions. "Me, I will throw it in the garbage or burn the money that you give me." Unwavering, she meets my gaze and firmly replies. "Kushina, I don't care. You can do whatever you want with it." Her stubbornness knows no bounds. "Very well, I shall show her." Taking the bag of ryo from her, I place it on the ground and begin forming hand signs. As I'm about to unleash a fire jutsu, she swiftly snatches the money back, glaring at me with anger. "Kushina, what the hell? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?" Smirking, I respond with amusement. "Me, well, will you accept the money now?" Kushina, "Yes, I will accept it." Minato chuckles, thoroughly entertained by our interaction. We exchange glances and share a brief laugh together. Skip dash. 1 week and 3 days later, morning. While engrossed in reading the advanced Uzumaki Fuinjutsu book that Kushina graciously gave me, there's a sudden knock on my door. Sighing, I set the book aside and make my way to the front door. Opening it, I find a member of the Genin Corps standing before me. He looks at me and delivers his message. "Wote Inuzuka-sama, you are being summoned by Danzo-sama to the Hokage Tower." I offer him a smile and respond. "Me? Yes, I will be there immediately. Just let me get ready, okay?" He nods, acknowledging my response. "Wote, okay. I was just supposed to deliver the message." With that, he turns and departs. Contemplating the purpose of Danzo's summons, I muse to myself, why would Danzo call upon me? Is he going to offer me a place en route? No, as the head of my clan, I possess too high a profile to join route. Regardless, I refuse to walk blindly into the tiger's mouth. I am not a protagonist from a Chinese novel. Activating the strength of 100 seal, I create a shadow clone with an identical amount of chakra as myself. This clone will meet with Danzo in my stead. Gathering my belongings, I prepare for any eventuality. If Danzo intends to harm me, I will escape even if it means becoming a missing nin. It is a pity, considering the progress I've made in Konoha and the effort I've invested in attaining a position of power. I create another clone to serve as my decoy, remaining in my house. Finally, I reach the outskirts of the Konoha sensing barrier, ready to make my swift exit should my clone encounter trouble. I must completely rearrange my plans if I become a missing nin. Creating my own village, like Orochimaru, would demand too much effort for little reward. However, I will require funds for my experiments. As I contemplate my future plans, I realize the need to grow stronger before executing any grand schemes. Impersonating a cage is a tempting path, and the hidden grass village seems suitable, a lesser-known village with ample resources. Alternatively, I could seize control of the land of snow, situated far away from the current war, where the chaos would provide the perfect cover for my ambitions. Once the war concludes, it will be too late for the 5 great nations to notice my actions, as I will have manipulated the 8 gate suicide pawns to work under my command, or use their families as leverage from a safe distance. Joining Akatsuki with a new identity would also be part of my plan. Acquiring a Byakugan would serve as an additional precaution against potential followers or attacks. If finding a main branch member proves difficult, I may have to wait until the canon events unfold and seize Hinata's eyes. She, with her weak nature and underwhelming Jounin sensei, would pose no significant challenge. 30 minutes later, it has been half an hour. Yet no memories have transferred from my clone. Could they have employed a special method to prevent me from receiving those memories? Just as I am about to create another clone for reconnaissance, my clone from the house suddenly disperses, prompting me to follow. Suspicion lingers, so I create another clone and instruct it to proceed to the house, while I shadow its movements. Arriving at the house, my waiting clone catches sight of the other clone, assuming it is the real me, and subsequently disperses. Memories flood into my mind. It appears I was needlessly paranoid. A false alarm indeed. I chuckle at my own folly. However, preparedness remains my motto, always ready for any situation. I coined that phrase since arriving in this world. Reflecting on the recent conversation, I delve into a flashback. Flashback Clone Polv. Entering the Hokage's office, I find Danzo and the other female council member present. The third council member seems to be absent. I address them politely. Me. Good morning, council members. May I know the reason I was called here? While I intended to address them individually by name, I had little interest in remembering or knowing the other council members' names aside from Danzo. Danzo gazes at me with his characteristic seriousness and states, Danzo, Yami Inuzuka, I've noticed that you haven't undertaken any C rank or higher missions or participated in the battlefield for a couple of years now. The nerve of this guy. Why hasn't he been to the battlefield himself? What a complete imbecile. Nonetheless, I maintain a guilty expression and respond. Me, sir, I wanted to participate in battles all this time. However, due to my responsibilities as the clan head and Tsunade Sensei's arrival, I was weakened for a period. He appears unimpressed, likely assuming that I prioritize my clan over Konoha. Danzo then speaks again. Danzo, I understand your situation, but I require your assistance in an important mission. Presently, we face a shortage of manpower, and find ourselves in a precarious situation with the ongoing war. He clears his throat and activates a sealing array, creating an anti-spy and silent seal within the room. Danzo, the village hidden in the sky, has emerged as a challenger to the 5 great ninja villages. I need you to infiltrate their ranks, gather intelligence on their military strength, and if you perceive them as a threat, hinder their progress by any means necessary. I will provide you with 20 genin from the Genin Corps and 72 Anbu from my Root Division, all of whom possess Chunin-level abilities. Directly meeting my gaze, Danzo continues. Me, I understand, Danzo-sama. I will complete the mission without failure, and endeavor to impede their advancement as much as possible. He nods, acknowledging my commitment, and adds further details. Danzo, you will lead this mission as the only known ninja involved. The members of Root will remain anonymous, and the genin are unaware of their ultimate destination, believing it to be a simple B-rank mission. Furthermore, if you successfully accomplish this mission, you will be rewarded with the pay equivalent to 2 S-rank missions, which will be added to your record. I gaze at him and respond. Me, I understand, Danzo-sama. Danzo sighs and laments. Danzo, I wish I had more forces to spare, but this is an utmost emergency. He proceeds to explain the routes I can take and the best way to navigate through the mist territory to reach the Land of Sky, a considerably distant location. Flashback end. With the revelation of the mission to infiltrate the village hidden in the sky, a wicked grin spreads across my face. The pieces on my chessboard multiply, offering more opportunities to weave my web of manipulation. The Sky Village, an unexpected addition to my grand scheme, provides an exhilarating challenge. But before I embark on this daring endeavor, I must devise a meticulous plan to deal with this newfound obstacle. As I contemplate the situation, my mind races with strategies and contingencies. The Sky Village, an emerging power, must be carefully studied and analyzed. Their military strength, alliances, and vulnerabilities need to be uncovered to exploit them effectively. I shall gather intelligence through covert means, relying on my network of root agents and the unsuspecting genin who accompany me on this mission. However, a frontal assault on the Sky Village would be ill-advised. A more subtle approach is required. Perhaps I could manipulate political tensions within the village, stirring dissent and sowing seeds of chaos from within. Exploiting their internal divisions could weaken their foundation and make them susceptible to my influence. Additionally, forging alliances with other villages antagonistic to the Sky Village could prove advantageous. By leveraging their animosity and mutual interests, I can construct a formidable coalition against our common enemy. A web of deception, diplomacy, and strategic maneuvers shall be my tools to ensure victory. But as I scheme, I must remain cautious. The Sky Village, while a tempting target, may possess hidden strengths and unanticipated countermeasures. I must conduct thorough reconnaissance, study their unique jutsu, and identify their key figures and leaders. Only then can I exploit their weaknesses and dismantle their defenses. The stage is set and the game is afoot. The Sky Village shall become another piece in my grand design. Its acquisition will serve as a stepping stone toward my ultimate goals. The unpredictable nature of this world excites and invigorates me. The path ahead is treacherous, but with my cunning and the shadows at my command, victory shall be mine. And so, with a mind brimming with strategy and a heart filled with ambition, I plunge into the intricate dance of deception, power, and conquest. The Sky Village, unbeknownst to them, shall soon bear witness to the rise of a new player one, who manipulates destiny itself. Tomorrow we are going to the land of the sky to fight against the Sky Village. I bought a lot of weapons for myself. I even bought a Jan-type sword. Danzo also gave me a scroll full of other weapons, but those were for the other shinobi. Then the scammer in me pops his head out. You know, I could sell these weapons to them at a higher price. But I believe the root ninja aren't paid much or even any at all. And the genin aren't known to be rich either. I then return home from shopping and go to bed. I can't help but think back on my childhood. Ha 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 ha, those were the times. Ash small flashback dash. First life age around 7 years old. You know, there are 3 types of kids in my school. 1. The wimps/nerds grow happy to have a normal family. 2. The bullies 99% have a shitty life at home. Maybe their dad an alcoholic or their mother a stripper, etc. 3. The people who are wimps but act tough, but everyone can tell they are wimps. Then there is me, the abnormality who stayed with the nerds at school and the bullies in the afternoon. Recently the nerds have started buying something called Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and the bullies always take it from them just so they can have it. Nothing interesting there until some bullies started using them as currency while playing poker or some other gambling games. You know what they say, like father like son, they are picking their parents' bad habits. I have a friend with the bullies squad, and of course, I stay with the nerds also. They are the ones with more chances of accomplishing something in their lives. Anyway, my friend's name is Addy. His story is that his father registered him as a mentally challenged kid to get some money to pay for his alcoholism. Dash flashback end. So yeah, I got some Yu-Gi-Oh cards and started cheating at every gambling card game I played. It was so easy to cheat against those kids, they were so dumb. Then I sold most of the cards to the nerds, 10 cards for $1. Then the bullies took the cards again, and the cycle continued. I was making a little money, until out of curiosity I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is the time I started knowing the rare cards, and started selling them to the highest bidder. I was making a lot of cash at that time. Then I started dueling with the nerds. The winner gets the other deck. I got them addicted to it. I was going to cheat to get more cards from them. But surprisingly I was good at Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling. No, I was very good at it. No one in my school could beat me at one point. I even had the 3 god cards and Exodia, until the principal caught me. But that is a story for another time. I wonder what happened to Addy. Last I heard about him was in high school. The news was that he got into drugs and had an overdose. I had more important things at that time, like how to deal with my stalker. I mean, we only flirted once, but that doesn't mean I love you. Ash time skip dash. Tomorrow, I make sure everything is ready and I go to the meeting place. The journey to the land of skies is going to take around 3 days. Then after some time, I arrived there. I arrived about 20 minutes early, and I only saw 3 ninjas too, which looked emotionless, probably root ninjas. And the last was a character I recognized. It was Might Guy, the father of Might Guy. This is surprising. He isn't useful to me, except his 8 gates technique, which he probably won't tell me about. But he is the father of someone who will be a great ninja, a true underdog rising. He is warming up while trying to socialize with the root ninja, who weirdly enough are replying to him and trying to understand him, and they are being very polite. Anyway, I go there and greet them. Me. Hey, good morning, my name is Yami Inuzuka. I will be your leader for this mission. Then they introduced themselves. When the others arrived, I told them I was the leader. The root chunin was emotionless, so they weren't weirded out when a kid was giving them orders. The genin, they were all from the genin core, and I had a higher position than them. Plus, in this time of war, if someone questions the orders of their commanding superior, well, a trip to the T&I department on suspicion of desertion or spying will maybe make them think better. They know that they know I know that, so we are all good. Then we start the journey. Time skip dash. 3 days later, in the journey nothing remarkable happened. We took the way I made to reach the land of the sky. It goes to the land of waves. There I find a big boat that could fit us all, and order the root ninja to kill all the sailors, even the captain. We take the big boat to also not alarm any missed ninja that might be patrolling, because most ninjas might not be able to water walk if any big wave hits. Then we go to the land of Whirlpool to rest and check if everything is okay. I leave a clone with a lot of chakra there to check for any hidden treasure, of course. I did so without anyone noticing. Then we take the boat and started sailing towards the land of the sky, which took about 2 days. And we landed right now. I ordered the Earth-style users to make camp for us underground. I also gave codes and fake codes to stop any spying. Well, then time to start to search for the Sky Village. Time skip dash. 6 days later. Okay, we found the Sky Village. And yes, it is flying just like the A9. So it is going to be hard to get there. I then think of a plan on how to get up there. Then I will do this at night. I will go there alone, cause no one else will be able to follow me. I go to camp and organize 2 Chunin to stay guard over the genin who maintain the camp. The others will be patrolling, and by that, I mean stealthily massacring every village they come across. We need to get those sky ninjas in the ground, even though they will know of our arrival when we start massacres. But it doesn't matter at that point, because I will be in the Sky Village killing them from the inside. Eveningi gave orders to all of them on how things should be handled. I also gave them protocols if they are discovered. I also took Shiro my Ninken with me. I stealthily go towards the Sky Village alone. Then I put a lot of boulders in my storage wristbands, which were full of projectiles and explosive tags. I still have pouches with kunai and shuriken, but I keep most weapons in my wristbands. I made them myself. I then go just below the Flying Sky Village. It's flying around 37 meters, 121 feet, so yeah, not exactly low, but also not high like above the clouds. I then prepare and get up on a tree, pump my legs with chakra, and together with my super strength technique, I jump high and destroy the tree I was standing on. I jump about halfway, then I summon a boulder below my feet and jump again. I am almost there and then use chakra strings to attach myself there. As soon as my feet touch the structure, I stuck to it. This is weird, I am upside down on a flying city. Well anyway, I put about 56 explosive tags at the bottom of the city. I made these myself and made them stronger than normal. I also hid all of them well, like in cracks and places where no one will notice. I then put my Ninken under my hoodie, so no one will notice. I transform into a normal looking person, and just to be sure, I make a shadow clone that will transform into someone else and follow me in case I'm followed. I then get into the city and look around. There seem to be a lot of civilians living here. I just wander around first and make a mental map. I then went towards the red light district, which wasn't weird now because I was transformed into an adult. After going in there, I call the most beautiful looking lady over, and I make a scumbag perverted face. Me. Hey there whore, wanna have some fun? Don't worry, I will pay you handsomely. She looks at me like I'm scum. Then we go to a motel that I pay for. We go to a room. As soon as we go inside it, I knock her out, close the door tightly, tied her to the bed and take out some torture tools and put silencing seals all over the room. I then look at her. She has brown eyes, an oval face, and beautiful black hair. I must say she looks good for a whore. I wake her up and she sees me with the torture tools. She looks surprisingly calm, but I can tell she is terrified. Well, this is mostly an intimidating method after all. I don't believe I have to torture her, because she isn't a ninja trained to withstand torture. Are you some creep or something? You know, if you leave a scar on my body, the ninja will kill you. I am their favorite. I then make a serious face and say, me? Oh Haru, aren't you a brave little whore? I don't care about the ninja, but I promise you that I will not leave a scar in your body or hurt you if you tell me what I want to know. She looks at me with calm eyes, but I can tell from her body language that she is relieved but still suspicious. How do I know you will keep your word? I make a cold face and say, me? Listen lady, the only thing that is mine in this life are my balls, and my word, I am not willing to break either of them. She looks at me, smiles and says, you know you are just my type of man. If I wasn't in this business, well, there is no use talking about what ifs. She is trying to manipulate me. I look at her, turn my back towards her and say, me? There is only one woman I will ever love in my life, and she is dead. My shoulders start shaking and I say, me? These monsters, the Sky Ninja, these guys took her from me. They had their way with her. I start producing tears at an alarming rate. Well, this whore should know a lot of info about this place. Also, I used a sad and tragic story to try to make her loosen her lips. She looks at me with sadness, and she starts telling me the info I want. Then she starts talking. Surprisingly, there isn't a cage ruling the Sky Village. It is run by some nobles that decided to band together. There are 5,000 ninjas, 3,000 chunin, 1,000 genin, 1,000 jounin. She also gave me some other info. Damn, if what she said is true, this could get dangerous fast. I make a clone immediately and write a message in a scroll. Though I did put in the scroll as a side note that this information was all gathered by a questionable source, and it has not been confirmed to be 100% true. The clone will give it to a root ninja who, with a team of 3, will return to Konoha to give this info. There I wrote almost everything the whore said. Then I give it to my clone. After the clone goes outside the motel stealthy, the whore looks at me. She probably knows something is wrong with my story, cause I just made a clone. She then says, WH-, but I cut her off with a senbon on her neck. Then I put poison in her blood. She will have a heart attack in 10 seconds. I untie her and vanish the signs that she was tied and clean the seals around the room and pick up all my things. Well, then I have a job to do. Then I go outside the motel stealthy also and change my disguise to an old man. I go to a shitty hotel and kill the owner and make a clone to act like him. This will be a temporary base of operation. Time skip tomorrow/midday. I spent all night putting explosive tags in places that no one will find them, like sewers and under the public toilets. I use clones to do that with a stick. No way am I doing that by myself. I slept until midday. Then I get up and eat some ration bars. I am not eating anything in this village. After all, it is still enemy territory. I don't know what they do to it, and it is a great way to get poisoned by an enemy ninja. I then wait again until it's nighttime and go outside. This time I go towards the leader's place, knock him out and make a clone to impersonate him, and have him put explosive paper tags around the leader's tower. I take the leader to my base and tie him up. He was arrogant. He only had 2 Jounin guards that I killed with poison when I transformed into a maid, and gave them water and had 2 other clones impersonate them. I am grateful to the seal that Tsune taught me. I now have so much chakra to make a lot of clones. There were also 11 servants in the house. I didn't kill them because they didn't know what was happening, and would be a great cover for my plan. Time skip tomorrow. I was going to torture the leader, but he gave up everything so easily. And by everything I mean everything, even the existence of Zero Tails and where to find it, how to get to it. Also, he told me where all his money is. I looked through, and he had 535 million ryo. I now have a mountain of money in my storage scroll, which I put in my wrist storage where I store my weapons. I look at his dead body. I then go towards the leader tower. I go inside normally. You know, if you act confident like you didn't do anything wrong, then people will think you did nothing. So here I am. I go into the leader's office. The guard, who is my clone, looks at me and says, "Clone, do you have an appointment?" I look at him in my elderly disguise and tell him, "Me? Yes, of course I do." He nods and lets me in. I go inside to see my clone. He looks at me and nods. Then I dispel him. I get his memories. This is why you mustn't have a weak leader. Cases like this happen and the leader gets replaced. They are a new village, so they probably got arrogant just because they have some new and fancy gadgets. If this was one of the great villages, I wouldn't have been able to get inside. Even if I did get inside by some miracle and was able to bypass the sensory barrier, I definitely wouldn't be able to leave alive. I see in his memories he just talks to some other people, and I also learn how this village stays afloat. It does so by using the prisoners use different methods like starvation, dehydration, pain, hate, etc. to get dark emotions to generate chakra for the Zero Tails. Then they use that chakra to keep this thing afloat. I make another clone to impersonate the leader again. I will deal with the Zero Tail later. I will also steal some more money from these rats. I just stole 177 mil from another notable noble family, and I killed all their members easily. I just stealthy put poison gas inside. They had Chunin and Genin guards, who didn't notice anything wrong, until it was too late. Now I am going to rob the third and last family that built this village. I go to the last family's house. They live on the western side of the city in a stone mansion. It looks like a goddamn mini castle. I also sent 16 genin, 5 chunin, 5 jounin, and 61 civilians in this house. This noble is more careful than the leader. I make 3 clones, and they stay outside together with my ninkin to not let anyone escape. I also put silent seals fuinjutsu all around the mansion. Never hurts to be careful. I then undo my transformation. I need to be able to fight at my full power. Then I go into the house stealthy, and I wait patiently until a jounin has to go to the bathroom as soon as he is about to pee. I immediately throw a kunai at him, but he turns around and intercepts my kunai with his. He looks at me and says, "Wait, you are surrounded. Just give up and I promise we will let you live." I see, so they notice me. I also sense the other jounin have also just surrounded the bathroom. Well, then I throw a paper tag in the opposite wall of the door, and then as soon as the jounin get inside, they look at the seal and get paralyzed. It is a paralysis seal. I attack the jounin that blocked my kunai. This time I slashed at him, and before a kuna's touched I used wind chakra and I cut through the kunai. He jumps back, but still gets a slash in his torso. He is skilled. I then throw 5 kuna's towards the paralyzed jounin, the free jounin, then goes to black them, but the kunai explodes, killing them all. Well, then this just alarmed a lot of people. It seems I will have to exterminate them all. Then I look at the jounin's dead bodies and think, that jounin was dangerous and well trained, but he didn't have that much experience with real war, where every dirty trick works. The closest he probably came to war was probably frying and throwing paper bombs. Then I start going outside of the bathroom. 5 chunin and 9 genin arrive to check what is happening. I go stealthily towards a genin and punch him behind his head. His head splattered all over the floor. This is the first time I used the super strength technique in battle. I must say it is remarkably strong. I then use all of my power and punch the ground. The mansion starts collapsing. I use Earth style, hiding like a mole technique. I go underground while the mansion is collapsing. I know this isn't a good idea. People are definitely going to notice this, even though no noise was made outside, because of the silence seals. Thank God I am way too paranoid, and I did that, or else I would have been surrounded by a couple hundred jounin by now. I go around and tell my clones that were outside to search for any treasure or anything important. I return to my base. No one heard anything about what I did yet. I was going to take them all out stealthy, but I saw that it was impossible when the jounin noticed me. I also know I am stronger than some chunin, but in a closed space like that, if any of them used a wide-range jutsu, I would be at best injured or at worst dead. I don't know how the jounin noticed me, but I suspect that it was because they had a sensor. I would have used a chakra-suppressing seal, but that is too dangerous in enemy territory. But still, did they sense me? Or was it something else? I guess we will never know after all. Even if you are a ninja, if a couple of tons fall on you, you will die. Also, I checked and confirmed with my chakra sense that there was no one alive. I didn't sleep all night, and my clones returned with 174 mil raya. I don't think I will have money problems for a long time. I have taken 886 mil just from robbing the 3 noble families who rule the Sky Village. I make a clone and tell him to go meet my clone, which is impersonating the leader. Minus 20 minutes later, my clone comes in and dispels himself. I get the memories and what I wanted. It was my clone which was the leader. For some time they changed places. I also learn all the things I needed to do, and then I make 10 clones again, and they nod and spread out. I dispel all the other unnecessary clones that I have in the land of the sky. I only keep the leader clone, his 2 bodyguards, and the 10 clones that I gave a duty to. I go to the market and buy the best bronze urn that money can buy. I then go to the leader's tower. I am allowed inside immediately. I see my clone there sitting on the throne, and he opens a hidden compartment and I run down there. Then I see a cocoon 0 tails giving off dark chakra. I look at my ninkin and knock him out to not have him get possessed or something. I then look around at the cylinder-shaped room and see the seals used in here all around the room. What bad sealing all of this to seal the 0 tails, who is not even a real tailed beast, because it wasn't made from the 10 tails. Then the 0 tails seem to wake up and look at me. Is it worth it, sacrificing all just so you can maybe reach a dream in which tragedy lies? So this is the 0 tails influence speaking weirdly, like a whisper in my head. What about your friend that you killed just so you could stay alive? He had a family, a sibling, he was someone's child, someone's brother. What would you do if someone killed your little brother? After all, you aren't there to protect him. You left them your family. You left them behind. I look at the 0 tails, my face contorted in pure anger, and I say, "Me? Why, you little worm." POV change clones POV, who is posing as the leader. I have my part to play in the boss's plan. Then a sky ninja comes in panicked and out of breath and says, "Shimu-sama, there has been an attack on the 2 noble families." I look arrogant like a noble and seem distracted. I then say, "Me? Who was it? Was he captured or killed?" That is the thing, Shimu-sama, we don't know who was it, and all the people who were in the buildings were killed. I look at him with rage and say, "Me? What? You imbeciles, you trash, how couldn't you notice? Call all the sky ninjas as soon as possible." I also want 100 jounin around me at all times. I want all the ninjas to gather all the people in the village at the tower. I am going to make a speech in 6 hours. Well then, I hope everything goes as the boss's plan. If it doesn't, we will all die. Then I also say, "Me? Call the guards guarding the door. I want them with me here at all times. We might have a traitor amongst us. That is the only way this type of assassination can happen. Then the ninja goes outside, and the two clones disguised as guards come inside. They look at me and say, Clone 1, so what is going on? I was made during the Plan A phase. Did it go wrong? Clone 2, I am the same, but I don't care either way. I am sure the boss will take care of it. I look at them and start explaining what happened. Clone 2, we are in deep trouble. Now that the security is increased, it will be a bitch and a half just to be able to escape alive. Clone 1, yeah, I wonder how the boss will do it. Me, I also checked for any secret exits, but there were none. Man, they were arrogant and made our job easier, but they didn't build any secret exits in their arrogance. Damn it, how will we get outside? I know this place is going to be surrounded by ninjas, but even though I asked for 100 Jounin ninjas around me, there will be 895 other Jounin looking for the assassin, together with 3,000 Chunin and 1,000 Genin. Shit, damn it, that is a circle impossible to escape from. There will also be a complete lockdown. If I order the lockdown to stop, I will blow my cover. What will the boss do? What about your friend that you killed just so you could stay alive? He had a family, a sibling, he was someone's child, someone's brother. What would you do if someone killed your little brother? After all, you aren't there to protect him. You left them your family. You left them behind. Star. I look at the Zero Tails, my face contorted in pure anger, and I say, me? Why, you little worm? This shitty worm. I will show him what pain means. I clasp my hands together, and 5 small yellow orbs with skinny tails emerge from between my clasped hands and move above my head, before forming a circle of 5. Raising my clasped hands above my head, I slam them downward, sending the orbs into the ground. As a bright light is generated in the sky above the Zero Tails cocoon, 5 tall and thick pillars, which are connected by chains, drop on the Zero Tails and pin it to the ground. 5-pillared iron weight seal. This will hold it down. It could theoretically hold down a 4-tail chakra cloak Naruto, so it will hold the Zero Tails without a problem. Yeah, the Uzumaki Advanced book is no joke. This is one of its strongest sealing techniques, which isn't a curse seal. I look at it, and I still keep hearing it speak. Strisk, even if you accomplish your dream, you will still just be alone for all eternity. Star. I take out a brush and a bottle of ink. I pulse chakra in the ink. I then start drawing seals all around the Zero Tails. The seal I'm drawing is called the Chakra Draining Seal. It is genjutsu designed to drain chakra. By placing the seal on the target, the chakra drained is transferred to the user. Yes, I am draining his chakra that is being generated, even I am helping it generate chakra with my dark emotions. I am not some MC who can easily throw away dark emotions. Then while his chakra is transferring to me, I look at the seals in the walls around me and put my hand in it. I start transferring all the dark chakra I have to it. This should keep the Sky Village floating for some time, around 2-3 days. I then look at the Zero Tails. It seems tired and thinner, but it's still speaking. You left them. How would they feel if they knew the cruel things you are doing? This damn worm. I then take my brush and take the bronze urn I brought with me. I put it close to the unmoving Zero Tails, and write Fuinjutsu seals all around the urn. Then I open the urn and clasp my hands together. Then an armored chakra hand comes and takes the Zero Tails, and pulls it in towards the urn. The seals around the urn start rotating and gathering all to fuse in one place. When the Zero Tails is fully in the urn, a red kanji meaning bronze appears. Bronze Armor Seal. Now it stopped talking. You know, sealing all that beast in this small urn is kind of weird looking at it. I guess Fuinjutsu for the win then. Now that the sealing is done, I release the 5-pillared iron weight seal, which now is just in the ground. It then just turns into chakra and dissolves. Well then, the bronze armor seal is a kind of weak seal that could technically seal one tail, aka Shikaku, in a Jinchuriki no problem, and it would hold him pretty well. But if it sealed 2 tails, the Jinchuriki wouldn't be able to sleep because of the 2 tails. In the 3 tails, it will hold it for a while before it breaks out. For the other tail beasts, it won't be able to seal them. But for a Zero Tail, it will keep him easily. It also has a weakness. The seal is easily broken even from something like the 5 elements unseal technique. I wake my Ninken and make a shadow clone to guard me. Well then, time to start the real battle with the Zero Tails. I then sit cross-legged close to the urn and start meditating to recover chakra faster. I still have around 6 elite Jounin chakra left in my seal, but I am not going to waste chakra needlessly. And in no way am I underestimating the Zero Tails. Around 1 hour later, I am at full capacity. Then I touch the urn with my palm and transfer my consciousness into it. I then go inside. I look around and see a field of red dirt surrounded by bronze walls all around, and I see some gears above that seem to be turning. I then look at the Zero Tails, which is coiled. It looks at me and says, "I see that you came here. What is your reason for doing that?" It speaks normally now. Probably the voice he had earlier was a technique to whisper into the victim their deepest regrets and painful moments to trigger a dark emotion output. It then looks at me and suddenly generates arms that come towards me fast. I just jump back and use fire style fireball jutsu at the Zero Tails, and it hits head on. Zero Tails start to make painful noises. How weak. It starts whispering again. It's trying to gain more chakra from my dark emotions, because it can't gain any more chakra from outside because of the seal. You know, for every ninja you kill you leave a kid orphaned, just like how you were orphaned, huh? The Zero Tails is good as a supplementary ally, but its fighting power is crap. I got used to its rambling by now, and I don't fall for it. I then use 5-pillared iron weight seal again, and the 5 pillars hold it to the ground. It was screaming and in pain, so it didn't notice the pillars falling. But I don't care for this weak little thing. After cutting all its arms and burning them, I then start writing some Fuinjutsu on the ground. After creating the necessary seals, the seal formula rises in the form of multiple chakra chains and binds the Zero Tails beast sealing technique. Okay, so now I am sure it won't be able to break from here in even 100 years by itself. Plus it isn't able to get any dark emotions from outside. Well, then Zero Tails captured. Time to get out of the Sky Village. My conscience returns to my body again, and I see the urn and think, I will keep the Zero Tails in that urn until I learn a way to erase its memories. I know the memory erasing seal, but the seal erases the memories of the caster and the victim of a certain event. But still, I am not using a seal that erases my memories also. I then get up and dispel my clone, and my Ninken then goes under my hoodie. I get up and start walking up the wall of the room. I arrive at the top and give a small, almost unnoticeable chakra signal. 1 hour later I am still in the same position. Then the secret entrance opened. My clone looks at me and says, "Sorry boss, I couldn't open it at the moment. I had some people in the room. Anyway, how are you going to get out of here, boss?" I then dispel him, get his memories, and make a new clone that will know what to do. Clone POV- leader clone. Well then I just have to follow the boss's plan. I then call a Jounin captain over and tell him, "Quote, I will give you one of my bodyguards." I said, quote, "because he will help you find the culprit sooner. By the way, are all the people gathered already?" The guard looks at me and says, "Yes, sir, they are all gathered." I look at him and say, "Okay, then we are rushing a little. I am going to give the speech in 10 minutes. Am I understood?" The guard widens his eyes and says, "Yes, leader, we will be ready then." I look indifferent and say, "Of course you will. Also take my guard. He will operate in stealth and alone to be able to find the culprit. Also listen to all his orders. He has the authority only second to mine at the moment." The guard looks kind of nervous and says, "Of course." One of my 2 personal guards, with an urn tied on his waist, and goes forward. 10 minutes later, I get on the balcony of the tower and look at the ninja and around 10,000 civilians on the roads. It looks crowded, but they still came. After all, it isn't every day that the leader makes a speech. I look confident and use a small genjutsu to make me look more dazzling with more sunlight around me. And I take the microphone-looking device and say, "My people of Sky Village. Yesterday we were attacked by a traitor among us. It massacred 2 of the ruling families." Some people start whispering amongst themselves. I look angry and say, "For someone to dare and kill in our city, it is unacceptable. I will find them. I will kill them." Leader's guard. POV 7 minutes later, the guard of the leader is walking stealthily among the edges of the city and goes to the launching station and says to a supervisor, "Stop all the sky patrolling ninjas. I want them on the ground immediately." He looks at me and seems to recognize the one talking and says, "Yes sir, it will be done. But may I ask why?" I look at him and say, "Well, amongst all these flying, the culprit could just be one of them and might escape from now on. If any other ninja is flying, except me, shoot it down. It might be the culprit." 10 minutes later, all the ninjas are on the ground. Now I then take a flying device and strap it to myself. This is a device that works by just flowing chakra through the wings, which propels the user through the air and allows for flight. With sufficient skill, the shinobi can display considerable maneuverability mid-air through the use of this contraption. One downside to this is with their chakra being used to fuel the machine's flight capabilities, prolonged use can eventually consume the user's chakra reserves. But I have enough chakra, but for skill, well, this is the first time I'm flying in it, so yeah. I then get in the launch pad, and it launches me up. I start putting a little chakra through it, and it propelled me. I then turn slightly and it turns. I then get as high as I can. I then dispel the 10 clones I made to put explosive tags all over the city. I am so high that people can't even see me. I make a half tiger hand sign and say, "Katsu asterisk VOOOOOOM asterisk." A gigantic explosion happens. The city starts falling. I can in pieces the towers, and the whole city is wrecked.
I even got the memories of my clones that were still there. The leader clone was distracting the population and ninjas while I did the work. *POOF**, I undo my transformation, and a 10-year-old kid with black hair and eyes with an Inuzuka tattoo came out. I wonder if anyone survived the destruction. Well, then the mission is not over yet. I still have to kill all the survivors. And to survive your village crumbling down on the ground and explosions around, well, you have to be either lucky or strong. You kind of have to be both. I look at the wreckage of the used-to-be Sky Village. This kind of destruction, this kind of catastrophe. How dumb a flying village might sound like a good idea with an untouchable village up in the sky. But if just a ninja can get there, it will cause catastrophic damage or even destruction. If they tried to fight the 5 nations, they wouldn't have been able to even battle them for a full day. They would have been destroyed with a wide-range ninjutsu. It would have hit a crucial part of the city, and it would have fallen well anyway. I go on the ground, open a scroll, and put the flying contraption on my storage scroll. I don't know, it might be useful for later. I then use Earth style, hiding like a mole technique, and travel underground while upping my chakra sense to see if anyone survived. 1 hour later, I discovered with chakra sense and a little investigation that there are survivors, specifically 56 Chunin, 58 Genin, and 123 Jounin. Most of the survivors had bad wounds, but non-life-threatening. They seem to be searching for any other survivors. They don't find anyone else. They found 146 lucky civilians who survived. Well, then I just AP on them from afar. I look at them, and I notice that some Jounin seem to have noticed something. So I immediately retreat. I would go call the ninjas that Danzo gave me, but by then some of the injured ninjas might get healed. Better to attack now. After all, we are not stupid to build the camp too close to the Sky Village, so it's going to take some time to get an attack force ready. 4 hours later, I then started my operation to kill them. I catched animals and injected them with a slow-acting poison, a type of virus you could say, and then put the animals close to the camp for them to take as food. I then also start poisoning their water supply by using different methods, from impersonation to poisoning a close-by stream, where every time they went to get water, usually a genin or civilian, I would put poison in the stream. The Jounin were looking after the camp in case of a sneak attack. Night time, while they are sleeping, I look and use a poison mist in their camp. I have a gas mask. I am boiling a certain concoction, and I am directing the steam towards the camp. I am so tired, I need a break. I still stay up all night, and when morning comes, I then go to their campsite stealthy and see all of them dead. I look at the background, the ruin of Sky Village. I look at my hands and think I have started becoming a villain. Yeah, right, in this world exist only winners, and the villains would always be the losers. You know the saying, the hero always wins. Anyway, I make sure there are no survivors, don't want someone coming for revenge or something cliche like that. I then start returning to my base camp. I arrive there in about an hour at my top speed. Then I use an earth jutsu and go underground. I look at them, and surprisingly all of them are there. They look at me in surprise, and one of the root ninjas says, "Welcome, Captain Yami." I look at them and say, "Wait guys, the mission is done." They look shocked for a moment. Even the root ninja, one of them even twitched his fingers, and I see he is about to attack me, but he puts on a fake smile and asks me before doing anything, "Oh, did something go wrong?" So Danzo probably gave orders to assassinate me if I fail, get scared, or something like that? I just smile and say, "Well, there is no Sky Village anymore." Some Genins fall. After all the destruction of a ninja village, this hasn't happened ever, well, until Pain does it in canon, and he still didn't kill every single one of them. What? It are you joking? And no way, man. Then of course we went to check the crash site. Some people hadn't seen anything, and the Genin was shocked. One of them said, "We were kept in the dark all along. We thought we were going in a long-term B-rank mission, not on the front line of some battle." I just look at them coldly and say, "You didn't have to do any fighting at all. So this being a B-rank mission would have been kind of suspicious." I then look at a root ninja, and I signal him. He looks at me, nods, and says, "Well, the mission hasn't ended yet. We have to eliminate some villagers to send the Land of the Sky a message, and make them surrender. Anyone who participates will be rewarded with an extra rank A reward." Then Might Dai says, Wait, is there a need for any more bloodshed? Tens of thousands of people have already died." I knew this would happen, so I signal the root ninja, and he said, "Wait, yes, and thank God they were all enemies. You don't want our children or even grandchildren fighting in the war, do you?" Dai then counters and says, "This is still wrong no matter how you justify it. ... Okay, so after that 5 Genin together with Dai refused to participate in the massacre, but all the other ninjas agreed. 6 days later, some more root ninjas were sent by Danzo, and we destroyed 20% of the Land of Sky. Most were villagers. The nobles and daimyo did send some assassins and samurai after us, but we moved in large groups to be safer, and we killed them all. Then as I was taking a rest, the clone I left in Inuzuka popped, and I got his memories. Well, my clone didn't find any treasure or special ninjutsu. He was just checking a normal house. and he activated a trap, and a scarecrow painting opened his mouth, and it shot nails and my clone then died. Well, then I guess I will check that when I return, but I will have to start killing some more for me to return faster. I have also gotten a lot of test subjects around. They are all in a stasis coma in a specially made storage seal. Minus 17 days later, 32% of the land of the sky is destroyed, and now the land of sky has asked for a ceasefire. The daimyo has requested for ceasefire, and after paying some unspecified amount of payment to Konoha, which then accepted the ceasefire, then we were ordered to return to Konoha to await further orders. Well, then I start organizing my ninja group, which is around 130 root ninja and 20 genin. You know, I worked a miracle. I killed 5,000 ninjas and destroyed a whole hidden village with almost no casualties. The only casualties were a couple of the root ninja that I sent to send information to Konoha. By the way, only one of them survived and was able to deliver the message. Well, as we are sailing in a boat towards Inuzuka, the same boat that we came with. Then as we are in the boat, I look towards Might Dai, who is with the other genin who didn't participate in the massacre. I just look at him sitting in the ground and looking at the floor absent-mindedly. I then say, "What so Dai-san, how are you feeling? You seem sad. You can tell me if anything is going on." He still keeps looking at the ground and says, "Nothing is really going on." I then sit in front of him and say, "Can I ask you something, Dai-san?" He turns and looks at me seriously and says, "Sure." Then he looks at the ground again. I don't mind that and just say, "What, when I was asked to do this mission, I didn't want to accept, but I did it anyway. I have a girl which is like my little sister, and I thought I didn't want her to see war or be a part of it." He just looks at me and smiles slightly and says, "Sometimes I forget you are a kid, but I also have someone special I want to protect. I have a kid, you know, he is just 3 months old, and I really needed the money that comes with the mission, because I am a single father. I know I am a killer. I am a ninja after all. But I will never kill innocents and civilians who have nothing to do with the ninja wars. They are only the victims of our war." I just look at him with an emotionless mask and say, "Whoa, this is where me and you differ. I will do anything to protect my loved ones." I then get up and go towards some root ninja and make some pointless conversation to pass time. I am still putting 94% of my chakra in my seal. I want to try and understand more about the 8 gates. I have an idea for a medical procedure related to it. I will use it on myself. I look at my small childish hands and make them in a fist. I first need my body to grow, and then train it to 100% before I do the procedure. 2 days later arrived at Inuzuka. I tell them, "You guys rest a bit, but don't leave your guard down. I am going to scout the island. I will check if anyone got wind of our mission yet, and if there are any ambushes or traps in here. If I don't come back in 6 hours max, you must assume something happened to me." They nod and start setting up a perimeter. Wow, this world really respects personal strength. I mean, they take orders from a 10-year-old. In my first life, not only we didn't take orders from a 10-year-old, but we don't even listen to what they say most of the time. The only way we listen to them is if we are at court and the kid is saying where his weirdo uncle touched him. Well, then I go towards the place where my clone died and see a normal wrecked house. I then send another clone inside, and not even 3 minutes later he comes outside with a scroll in his hands. Then I dispel him and catch the scroll. I also got his memories, and apparently there were no more traps actually, and at the end of the tunnel was nothing. But if you move the picture of the scarecrow that shoots needles out of his mouth, inside the wall is a safe, and there is a scroll inside it. The safe didn't have any trap seals, only a locking seal, and a destruction seal to destroy everything inside the safe if the seal is opened forcefully. I solved this quite easily. It was mostly made to not be opened by those of not Uzumaki origins. And the best way to do that is to put seals that only Uzumaki know, and I obviously know, because of the books about Uzumaki Fuinjutsu. I make another clone and make him open the scroll to see if it was a trap or something. He opens it and it was not a trap, and after 2 minutes, just to make sure there was no trap, I then dispel the clone and get his memories of what he saw. And then my eyes widen, and I go to take the scroll and see for myself. As I open the scroll, I read the technique and think, the technique's name is Chain Jail. It is an inferior variation of the adamantine sealing chain that the Uzumaki use. It was made for those Uzumaki without the talent to be able to produce the adamantine chains, which would be able to hold the 9 tails for a very long period of time. Kushina wasn't able to hold the 9 tails down for as long as she would have been able to if she was in top condition during the 9 tails attack. But still, this technique could hold down the 6 tails for a long period of time, and 7 tails for some time. How the technique works is that you write the specific seal in a part of your body, and the seal will generate a sealing chain made out of your chakra. The max that can be inscribed in the body is 4 seals. So that means 4 chains can be made at max. The chakra requirement is extreme. For the average ninja to make even 1 chain, I should be able to generate 3 chains at max with my natural chakra amount. But I probably will only generate 1 chain to fight efficiently. I could generate all the 4 chains with the chakra in my seal, but if I am not fighting a tailed beast, then one chain would be more efficient. I then put the technique scroll in a storage scroll. I will learn this when I return to Konoha and have more time. I really hit the gold mine this time. I was lucky. I am not usually this lucky. I guess there is rest for the wicked. I return to my camp and I rest a little, and then we become ready to depart again. Ash, one day later, are now at the land of waves. We destroyed the boat before arriving on the harbor and stealthily walked on water towards a desolate part of the shore. As soon as we arrive in the shore, a lot of projectiles are thrown at us. I immediately use Earth Style. Earth Wall and put extra chakra into it. We still lost some people, around 50 root Chunin, and almost all the genin. I think only Dai survived. We have a lot of injured ninja. We were ambushed and had a catastrophic loss. We need to retreat. Then I noticed the chakra signatures that were hidden before. So they used a technique that hides their chakra signatures and attacked us. I sensed 10 Jounin and 84 Chunin. I have around 70 Chunin and a couple of genin under my command. Then 5 of the enemy Jounin clap their hand and use lightning illusion. Flash pillar, I see that, and I immediately start violently running chakra through my body from the seal. And as I do so, I see the 5 other Jounin use Gale Style. Laser circus towards us and I use Earth Style. Mud Wall, a gigantic wall of earth appears and stops the attacks that took a lot of chakra. Then the root ninja get out of the Jinjutsu, so I just tell them with hand sings my plan. They get atop the wall and we all use Fire Style, Flamethrower, and as we are doing that I cut up my Fire Ninjutsu and use Wind Style. Great breakthrough to power a Fire Style and a great tsunami of flames appears going towards the enemy. They used Water Wall, but it wasn't able to handle our jutsu completely. 51 enemy chakra signatures disappear. They let their guard down for a moment. They seem like they are fighting in unnatural territory. They probably aren't Mist Ninja, even though they have Mist Village headbands. Some of them seem kind of tan. If they were Mist Ninja, they would have used more water walls together to defend against our jutsu. I think they are Cloud Ninja after all. They even use lightning techniques. What they are doing here, I don't know, but I will think about that later. The root ninja retreat and take the injured with them. I signal my ninja, and we all disperse in different directions, while I leave a couple of shadow clones to distract them. -1 hour and 30 minutes later, have all regrouped in a specified location. It was in a cave under a small bridge. We retreated because even though we took them by surprise with a fire technique, we were still at a disadvantage. They had 10 Jounin, and we only have me. If we fought the battle, we would have had a 30% chance of winning, and I don't like odds like that. I look at our survivors. There are only 82 root Chunin, with 13 of them injured and 7 of them critically injured. I am treating them right now, and by tomorrow all of them should be able to fight again. I am not Tsunade's student for nothing, you know. Actually, even Tsunade would need about a week to completely heal the critically injured ones. I used their lifespans to make them heal faster. That is why they are able to get better so fast. 4 genin survived. Only Dai was not really injured, only some scratched, which I checked, and they weren't poisoned. 3 of the genin were injured and 2 of them heavily injured. I also healed them. This mission won't be a 100% perfect completion like I thought it was going to be. I need to think of a plan and take the Cloud Ninja all out in a fellow swoop. It won't be as easy as with the Sky Ninja. After all, the Cloud Ninja are more alert and experienced than them. 4 days later puff change ? Third person Pov in the camp of Cloud Ninja, a young man who is short for his age with rather tan skin and an athletic physique. He possesses ruffled burgundy hair that casts notably dark shadows on itself, combed back to expose his forehead, and wide, dark eyes with white pupils that appear dark pink around the lower section of their irises. His name was Ken, a Chunin of Cloud Village. He was born and raised in the slums of Akuzaya, which is a city in the land of lightning. He had a sickly mother he deeply loved. In order to pay for medicine, Ken pickpocketed from people in town, but was caught 3 times. The guards beat him and marked him with tattoos, threatening to cut his arms off the next time he was caught, and calling him a demon child. When Ken returned home after his 3rd beating, a villager informed him that his mother, having heard of his arrest, hung herself. In the letter she left, she stated she wanted Ken to live a full life, and didn't want her to be a burden to him. She also said that she didn't want to take medicine if it was earned by dishonest means. The beatings didn't hurt him, but the death of his mother did. He felt that she wasn't a burden after all. She was his mother. At her death he was devastated and lost. He didn't know where to go and what to do. With his criminal tattoos and no home to return to, Ken was eventually banished from Akuzaya, devastated by the loss of his mother, and enraged at this society they lived in where he couldn't afford his mother's medicine. He picked fights with people and beat them up. One day, after nearly killing 10 adult men in a village, he was approached by Han. Han is a ninja from the village hidden in the clouds. He is a black-haired and brown-eyed older man with a muscular body and unshaven stubble, and a very cheerful personality. He is also a Jounin from Cloud Village, and a clan head of the small clan, which consisted of him and his daughter. Annoyed by the man's cheerful demeanor, Ken challenged him to a fight,
but was defeated with ease. Han took him in so he could nurse Izuno, Han's sickly daughter. Her mother, her previous caretaker, drowned herself due to stress, and Han had to do a lot of missions to keep them afloat and pay for Izuno's medicine. So Ken was tasked with tending to her, already accustomed to tending to his mother. He had little trouble tending to her, though he found it awkward whenever she burst into tears. One of those times, unbeknownst to him, he had indirectly motivated her by telling her that there will be a next year to see the Lightning Festival, which celebrates the first defeat of the Octopus Bull Demon. Han also started training Ken to be a ninja. 3 years later, Izuno was in good health and could stand and do chores. Ken continued training with Han to become a ninja. One day, Han offered Ken to take over the small clan and take Izuno as his bride, to Ken's surprise and embarrassment. He agreed, silently vowing to protect both of them even at the cost of his own life. At the Lightning Festival, Izuno told him of her past, asking if he was really okay with the proposal, to which he reaffirmed his vows to her, promising to protect her for the rest of his life. He went and prayed to the grave of his mother before going to war, and told her of his latest experiences. At the age of 17, he was a chunin, almost a jonin, in about a year. He should be able to become one. He still remembers the ambush that happened against the Konoha ninja. That was really just a coincidence. They were supposed to deliver a message to the Mizukage. That was their mission. But they already stealthy sent 2 chunin and 1 jounin to deliver the message, while they distracted the Konoha ninja. At least, if the Konoha ninja were planning to attack us, and they haven't returned to Konoha yet. He went to war together with Han, who is now his father-in-law. He is actually one of the jounin. At that time, Han came towards Ken and smiled and said casually, "Hey Ken, how you doing?" He then immediately goes alert. That greeting was a code that was made in case we are surrounded, and not to let lip readers notice. We then start getting ready casually with no sudden movements. Then all of a sudden we are surrounded. We all go to fight our enemies, and as we are fighting them, Ken notices that someone killed one of them, and it was a shadow clone. Then all of a sudden an explosion happens, and that is the last thing he saw before he only saw darkness and died. And that is how one of the countless victims of the Second Ninja War died an easily unforgettable death. Some time later, when Izuno got the news that her father and the love of her life died, she committed suicide, and Yami never knew who Ken was and what happened. Even if he did, he wouldn't really care. MC Pov. Some seconds earlier, I look at the camp with binoculars and see that one of the clones got killed. Then I do a half tiger seal and say, Katsu *BOOOOOOM*. A huge explosion happens, and I signal the root ninja. We had all used shadow clones and filled them up with explosive tags under their clothes. We then went and took care of the survivors. There were 17 survivors. We tortured some of them and got information out of it. And once we got what their mission was, and I immediately start a retreat. We don't even clean the site. After all, we could be surrounded by Mist Ninja at any moment. 3 days later, we returned to Konoha. We only saw some Mist Patrol teams, and we killed them all, and we arrived at Konoha safely. I just smile and think, I wonder what has changed since I was gone. Did my bounty change? Did I become some kind of war hero? The plan goes on as I am going towards the Hokage Tower. The root ninja disperse and only die and the 3 other genin. Then as I arrived there, we then were told by the secretary that the Hokage was expecting us. Well, I guess he already knew we were coming. He probably saw us in his crystal ball, or an ambi reported to him. Then as I go inside, I see the Hokage, and all the village elders are there, even Danzo. The Hokage looks at me and can't keep a smile from forming of his face. And he then says, "Wote Yami Inuzuka, I congratulate you. I keep a serious face to mask my depression/trauma from killing all the people I did. This is what you call a double-layered mask." I then answer seriously, "For what, Hokage-sama?" He noticed my mood and says seriously, "You are promoted to Jounin." The Genin's eyes widen. After all, a 10-year-old Jounin is the youngest Jounin ever recorded. This is literally witnessing history. But the Hokage continues and says, "And also he picks a book from his desk and throws it to me." I catch the book and read it. Aha! So my bingo book page got refreshed. Yami Inuzuka codename, Red Fang/Sky Slayer. Yami bounty, 73 million, Ryo rank. Description: he is believed to be good at Taijutsu. Tsunade Senju the Slug Princess was his Jounin teacher, and he might have her freakish super strength. He has big chakra reserves. His strong point is ninjutsu. He is also believed to be good at genjutsu. Be aware the ninja is a schemer. It is suggested he is dealt with quickly and with no time to prepare. Do not underestimate him because of his age. He used that to overcome Chiyo of the White Troop when he was younger. Wanted for the destruction of the village hidden in the sky. The land of the sky also offers a noble status to anyone who brings him in. He is known for single-handedly destroying the village hidden in the sky, capturing the one-tailed Jinchuriki, cutting of the arm of Chiyo of the White Troop, massacring the defenseless Land of the Sky civilians, numerous killings in the battle against the village hidden in the sand. He is the only student of Tsunade Senju who is still living. He graduated at apostrophe. There were a whole lot of information about me, critical and important information. No one is going to underestimate me now. This is a big disadvantage to me. True, the reputation will help me get high-paying S-rank missions even in peacetime, but I don't really care about that. After all, I am only going to do a minimal amount of missions in peacetime. It is better to train or experiment. And I know my power best. I am not S-rank material then, as I am about to put the book down on the Hokage's desk. He looks at me, smiles and says, "Wait, you can keep the book. No need to get a new one for yourself. You just returned, so it's some reading material while you rest." He then says seriously again, "Anyways, your reward will be 12 S rank and 7 omissions to your record, the rank of Jounin as I already said." And he then takes a check and gives it to me. 6 million Ryo. I just look at the money and say, Hokage-sama, I don't want the money. His political senses go off, and he noticed where I'm going with this. He narrows his eyes and brings his hands together to his chin. He then says, "Wait, then what is it that you want?" Oh, that means that he is ready to pay a big reward to me. Well then, let's continue this acting in front of the genin and the councilman. Quote, "In the battlefield, I noticed how I was unable to protect myself, and I want an S-rank technique as my reward. Except for the Hokage, all the others widen their eyes. But no one refuses. After all, it is a fair trade, and I didn't ask for an S-rank forbidden technique, just an S-rank." Then the Hokage makes a signal and Anbu comes down. He then says, "The Anbu will guide you where we keep the S-rank ninjutsu. But first you will have to give me a report for your mission." I then do so, and of course I hide some details like the zero tails or my half-truth of me torturing someone I dodged, saying it was a prostitute to keep my image cleared. Then after I do so, I am escorted out by an Anbu and him taking me to the Anbu base. Then as we are walking, I ask him, "So I have been gone for a long time, what happened around here?" He just looks at me with his mask, which I can't see his eyes. But he says sure, and he starts explaining what happened. Hokage returned to Konoha and Orochimaru withdrew from the Land of Rain and took his place in the war against Cloud Village. Tsunade returned to the Mist battlefield. The Spectre Dan is now holding the Rain front lines against Rock together with Sand, which are temporarily our allies. Jiraiya asked for a break, and because of his contributions, he was given one. If my estimation is correct, he should be training Konan, Yohiko, and Nagato at this time period. He then starts explaining to me some of the alliances we made with Waterfall and Grass Village. Then we arrived at our destination. The Anbu base is actually located surprisingly in a run-down apartment complex. Then when we arrive there, we go inside, and the Anbu escorting me does a secret hand sign to the man in front, who then opens the door for us. But the Anbu says, "Wait here." Then as I am waiting, I open the bingo book and look at the bounties in there. And that's the end of this episode. The series will continue in the next part, so be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share, and comment down below. This really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching. We'll be seeing you in the next part. Check out my other anime videos.